ladies and gentlemen, it's another wonderful day, another wonderful time out here on the Portmanteau today. I know say this is another one program where we always tell una say they get in mind to chook mouth for all the matters where other programs not dey fit chook mouth put. And as na dey see am na me, that fine proud Benin boy Osagiato, the whole of that they call talk. Nice to sit down for inside the studio today. And as na dey see am again, I not dey here alone. I sit there with my honorable guest, my honorable fellow, my usual guest, ever available guest. Together we dey dissect and bisect the matters on top the Portmanteau today. Bros,
yes, na still your boy, my bros, everly available. Today talk about Naija issues with this Portmanteau. I, Bamidele Opeyemi Bello, is everly available, aka MC Bob.
That's so, bros. So they talk about Naija issue.
We talk till it get better.
Till it get better. We have to talk till it gets better. You understand? And so that is why we dey on top the Portmanteau today. My people as now they watch us, so now know wetin we dey do immediately after our introduction like this. Now know that to go collect our coffee. We cannot do without collecting the coffee. I don't know whether they take a pray for us. I don't know. That's it. That they boy you now coffee from the ancestors. So we want to go collect our coffee now. Make we not go anywhere. Yeah, Bobby.
Yes.
You know say this life no balance.
I know balance.
You know say you get some word, or some phrase, when person go tell you, you all know say the next thing when the person go talk after that word, you know like am.
It's hot.
The next thing when go come out after that, I don't notice her. Say once this phrase or this word come out, the next thing wey go come out, you know like am. Kai. So for instance, na make person tell you say, I beg your pardon.
I beg your pardon.
When person tell you say, I beg your pardon.
The girl wey babes dey talk am, I beg your pardon.
And if girl tell you say, I beg your pardon, just know say the next thing na to tell you the history of how they pick you for gutter. Once person tell you say, I beg your pardon, just pick race. Because the next thing when you go hear, you know, or make person tell you talk say, make your person just talk now. Make tell say, excuse me.
Excuse me? What do you mean?
Especially those ladies. Excuse me?
I neck they go like talking old.
Or if man, you are a guy they argue now. Got the excuse me. You don't know say want tell you as it take pay your papa hospital bill. As it take give your mama 15,200.
As you take a hassa for food money.
For food money. Bro. You know the one where they pay me pass, the one where they sweep me pass. Now when person tell you say excuse me sir, with all due respect, if you hear with all due respect, my guy you come up for that vicinity.
He don't respect you finish.
He
don't accord you the respect wey due to you. The remaining na insult.
Na insult. He don't level you. He don't grade you. The next thing when they come out, oh God, you know if you stomach am.
With all due respect.
With all due respect, sir. Alright, our people. So in case you know any other one, any other phrase like that, where we say once they drop am, the next thing na insult. Let us know. We don't talk about three now. We don't talk I beg your pardon. We don't talk with all due respect, and we don't talk excuse me. Alright, now so we want to enter the very first matter on top the Portmanteau today. Recently, a very ugly situation, a very ugly incident happened in our country, Nigeria. Just in our previous episode, we talked about the activities of armed bandits along express roads, especially the Abuja-Kaduna express road that claimed a lot of lives. A lot of people were kidnapped, collected ransom, that they were eventually released. The one that really touched us was the death of the Olufon of Ifon, Oba Adewusi, you know, which was also killed, you know, on the road by armed abandoned. But just shortly after that, another very, very ugly incident happened in our country, Nigeria, where some group of people, some farmers, innocent farmers, went to farm in Borno State. They went to harvest, on their rice farm. And I know say why they go harvest, we say this na December.
Yes.
They need to sell rice.
Yes.
You understand? Because rice season so they need to sell rice. They went to their rice farm to go and harvest, and unfortunately for them, the Boko Haram came around and slaughtered, according to Nigeria, 43 of them.
Yes.
Because the news that UN gave us was 110.
Conflicting.
Yes. But last UN came to retrace their word that they didn't get the real statistics. You understand? That was after Boko Haram leader Shekau came out with his video to say they actually killed 78 people. But up till today, the Nigerian government is still holding to their 42, 43. You understand? 42.
I will never let you go.
42, 43. Despite through it all, a lot of reactions, a lot of people came out to talk. But one of the persons that came out to talk that really touched me, you understand, was the spokesperson to Mr. President, where the Alhaji Abina Oga Garba Shehu. Oga Garba Shehu was quoted as saying that the farmers really Malam Garba Shehu came up. He was quoted as saying the farmers really got clearance from the military before they went to their farms. You understand what I'm saying now? Yeah, before they went to their farms, that were they giving clearance? Did the military clear them
to go to their farms?
Yes, to go to their farms. So that statement generated a lot of heat. And it generated a lot of argument and a lot of anger and annoyance here and there.
Yes.
But here on the Portmanteau today, I want to make we chook mouth put for that statement. Were the farmers cleared by the military? Did they collect clearance from the military to go to their farm? How you see the statement?
Bros, you see that statement where Garba Shehu, Malam Garba Shehu, the spokesman to the president, where it further confirms to us all this claim over time wey be say some news media around the world don dey carry say Boko Haram in some northeast have claimed major parts. But over the years, the military and the spokespersons to the present administration, they always come out to tell us it's all media lies. That
media propaganda.
I remember Alhaji, our very old Alhaji Lai Mohammed. He was the one who came out with technically defeated. I don't forget. So now it further proves to us say Boko Haram truly they are in charge, or they've taken charge of a larger part of Borno
State.
Now, before now, say those farmers they collect clearance to go their farm. When they planted their rice, they collect clearance.
Did the military give them clearance before they went planting?
Are you okay? Say Garba Shehu won't tell me say military presence no dey on ground for war zone. She don't want to say Boko Haram is in this territory. Are these people left alone? And are they left alone? As in, so you've left them to their fate?
To their fate.
We say no military presence in that area. To the extent we say they collect clearance. That means Boko Haram is controlling the area. They shoot their father. They shoot themselves on the foot. Then we go talk A. We come back on talk B. Just because say they want proof to us say the day on the right charge, and they don't forget say their statement don't they follow again.
When I had that statement that Garba Shehu made, because the way and manner with which the Boko Haram took that operation or underwent that operation was so gruesome. It was so gruesome. I've never seen anything like that before. Just went, terrorist attack. It's either they come, they blow themselves up in the
time.
midst of people, or they come, they just start raining bullets, start shooting, killing people, or they come, they set places on fire. You get what I'm saying now? I've never seen a place where where terrorists will just enter into a space, people's space, and begin to slaughter.
They even had enough time to tie their hands to the back and start
slaughter. According to government, 43 people. Like you said, a place that is perceived to be military occupied.
Military, imagine.
Borno State has been the headquarter of terrorism. We know.
Yes,
and according to reports, according to news here and there, the presence of the military is heavy in Borno. So I expect that every nook and cranny, there will be military men or military personnel in Borno State. So for people to now go to their farm, 43 were tied and were slaughtered. Adibin is gunshots now.
We go
say kaka. 43 don't die, they don't run.
Yes.
But they had time to begin to hold them and slaughter. Yet there was no military present, no any military van just come that area.
Imagine to face them, to combat them.
Not even just play, say we just a patrol pass. You understand? Being being a volatile area. You get what I'm saying now?
Yes.
That is that basis we have been able to establish that the news or the reports we are receiving that the military is everywhere in Borno State is partially true and partially not true.
They are managing the truth.
Yes, they are managing the truth. But what I want us to consider on the portmanteau today about the statement, because this thing there are two sides of a coin.
Of course.
You understand? Any coin you see has two sides. You get what I'm saying now? Let's critically take a look at this Garba Shehu statement that did they collect clearance from the military before they go to their farm. You get what I'm saying now? For me, considering the volatility of that environment, considering the security sensitivity of that environment, of not just Jere local government area or Jere whatever, the whole Borno State, the security sensitivity, I don't think it is wise or sensible for anybody to just carry waka anyhow.
I get you.
You understand me now?
Even the governor the other day was attacked.
Twice. That is a whole governor with convoy. Not to talk
Yes,
of you where you say, now God be your security. You get what I'm saying now? So Garba Shehu's statement might not be out of place. But the only thing that I see in it is that he was not sensitive.
Yes. The atmosphere was too tense.
To make that kind of statement. Even if you want to make such statement, you have to be diplomatic about it.
We understand what you are saying, but not at this time.
Because that area, truly, it's just like, for instance, now we are in a riot.
Yes.
Maybe there is a riot or there is a protest or there is anything. Okay, just like the recent EndSARS protest, there was a point that I got to, during the protest. We all have to hide because hoodlums took over the whole thing. So they started macheting people, killing people, shooting here and there. You understand? So we all had to take cover. So while we were taking cover, this military pickup van came with some soldiers on it. So it was those soldiers that now called us that we should come. So they led the way, we followed them. That was how we were able to pass through. Let's paint that picture in this scenario. The people truly will have actually consulted with the military. Say, Oga,
we need the presence of security.
Sorry, our viewers, not that we were not concerned, not that the death did not touch us, but we are just trying to see the truth, the thin truth that is embedded in what Garba Shehu said, the presidential spokesperson. You understand? They will have at least before going to farm, knowing that this area is not too safe. Nowhere is safe in Borno.
Nowhere.
You understand? You will have at least let the military guide you.
Yes.
Or tell
you need the
go,
presence of the military.
or do not
we want to
go.
farm. We want to. I get you, bro.
You know, so that is how me I see that statement. It's just that the statement did not come at the right time.
Yes. And,
you understand?
And the statement has an in-depth of a critical situation on ground.
Yes.
So you should have you know, you should not be too hard. You know, or you know, so people have died.
People have died. People are mourning.
About souls, yeah.
People were depressed.
Yes.
You know, people were psychologically, emotionally. You know, the damages was heavy.
The
on
level
people.
at the level at which human life does no longer matter in this country. In fact, it's human life is seen like life of a chicken, and you are coming out to make this kind of statements. It's not sensitive.
That point, it was not sensitive.
Very insensitive.
It was not diplomatic.
We understand
enough.
what you are trying to say, but it's not.
His office, the office is occupying as the presidential mouthpiece. Let me call him is the presidential mouthpiece. He should have known better. He should have been able to coin that word well.
Yes.
In a way that it will be suiting to hear. You understand what I'm saying now? After the attack, Shekau came to claim responsibility. He came out to claim responsibility, and that was when we came to know about the true figure of how many people that actually fell to their sword.
Bro, see, might just divert a little bit. this Shakao, I don't understand. You get what I will say? Shakao they always die every year.
Every week. Today they'll say Shakao has been killed. Tomorrow they'll say Shakao has been badly injured.
I don't understand.
Next tomorrow they'll say Shakao has been technically defeated.
Shakao na the name of the I don't understand. Na title.
Maybe na post where they give the next that Shakao. Okay. You know, when they were saying they technically defeated Boko Haram, I was laughing. If you technically defeat somebody, what is technically defeating? You understand?
Yeah.
You just temporarily render that person, you know, powerless.
Yes, you subject
that is technical.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying now? I expected the Nigerian government to say they have technically, psychologically, machinerically, and all the Kali defeated Boko Haram.
Every time they come out, recently that Alhaji like Mame don't say that because the international quotas no sell weapon give them. Before they talk say we are capable. We say we are on top of the matter.
You know, recently, you know, this is like during our previous shoot.
Yeah.
We said this country is mysterious. Everything that's happening in Nigeria is mystery. You get what I'm saying now? Recently, 2 incidents happened in this country.
Okay.
2.
Yes.
An American was kidnapped and was brought into Nigeria by Boko Haram. The American SEAL came. The American SEAL came and took him away, rescued their citizen. Last, Nigerian government said they worked together. You understand what I'm saying now? That one passed. Now, in Abu Dhabi court,
indicted 6
Nigerians.
Yes.
6 Nigerians for sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria, sponsoring Boko Haram, wiring money from different parts of Dubai and different amounts to sponsor Boko Haram in Nigeria. 6 of them were indicted and sentenced.
2 received life and 4 that received
fine.
Yes.
Now let's look at that incident. 6 of them were caught in Dubai sponsoring Boko Haram activities in Nigeria. Now that means, and if you look at it very well, when they were confessing in the court, they made mention of 2 people, 2 of their allies.
Yes.
2 prominent people. They say one is even working with this, is even in this government. Through which they are wiring money to sponsor Boko Haram. Now that information has gotten to the Nigerian government. Those 2 people that were mentioned that are still in this country, where are they now? What has the government done about them?
This is a very sensitive issue. that you just brought out, what has the government done concerning those
two people
those names that were mentioned?
Within weeks, within days, let me know, within days, Central Bank of Nigeria and his team and their team, maybe security team, intelligence team, or whatever team, they were able to freeze accounts of purported EndSARS promoters. And up till now, those accounts have not been unfrozen. You understand now? How much entered those accounts wey make them freeze them?
Abi?
How much? Now, talk less of somebody receiving funds, huge amount of monies in foreign exchange, in dollars, to sponsor terrorism. So una no fit trace that account.
Down is untraceable. Imagine. Una no fit trace the account, una no fit trace the person.
I think you see where we dey for this country.
If it's a sorry case. It's a sorry case.
It's very pathetic.
Very, very pathetic.
It's very, very pathetic, and I don't want to believe that because when they are saying things, sometimes we want to say certain things, but we just look at our patriotism to the country, so that because the way all these things is going, I don't think the leadership of this country are really taking this thing as serious as they should.
They are, in fact, they are the number one.
These people are in this country. Not that they are operating from outside. You know, somebody operating from outside is difficult to apprehend.
Yes.
But they are within you here. And you know where they are.
In fact, they've shared you intelligence. They have, in fact, they have indicted. People have been questioned. They've been interrogated. They've been sentenced. What have you done afterwards? What have you done as a government? Wey be say they proactive. Government wey be say he really want, government wey wan stop insurgency for the country. He suppose don take some things up.
Take some things up.
No be say una go dey talk say, imagine Buratai, the head of military, come go dey talk say some international people na dem want separate country. Is that the interest of international people? You yourself as a government, what are you people doing? Now you've heard of people who are sponsoring. You can see them. They are traceable. They are within the country. Why haven't you gone after them? And you are going after some other people that you feel they are sponsoring EndSARS. I don't understand.
Many people have been clamoring for the sack of service chiefs. Not today, not yesterday, not day before yesterday. They've been clamoring that service chiefs should be changed. Service chiefs should be sacked. And we have also made mention of it on this program that if something is not giving you results, or if a team is not giving you results, the next thing you do is to relieve them, change them. You get my point? Yes. But Mr. President have still not done that. The service chiefs are still holding on to their posts. They are still holding on to their positions as service chiefs in this country, despite all these that are happening. I used to say, if it's in a developed world, you don't even need to call for their sack. Now, them by themselves go resign.
They go resign.
I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he was governor, he practically resigned by himself. What was the reason of his resignation? He said his policies are failing. Simply because his policies are not working. He resigned. Not because people are dying. Not because he could not control gangsterism. Not because, he said his policies, his ideas, the ideas he came into government with, they are not working. So he had to resign and let somebody who have a better idea, who can do the work, to take over. So in a sane society, in a sane environment, this kind of a thing, ordinarily, people should not even call for the sack of anybody. They that are in the position should take biro and paper and resign by themselves, because they have failed.
They don't fail.
They have failed. But unfortunately, Nigeria, I've never seen any government official resign. Even the one that was indicted for corruption, facing trial, he still held on to his position as Senate.
Imagine.
He went to prison. You understand? Still a senator. Came out of prison, went back to Senate to go and continue his duty. I think you get what I'm saying now. So that is I remember one time when I think Abori Shade was the Minister for Aviation.
Yeah.
When within few months of his taking over office, plane begin dey crash anyhow. People were clamoring for it. They say na me dey fly them. People were shouting, "Won't you resign?" He said, "I mean, they caused the plane crash. I'm just the Minister of Aviation." Nigeria with public office holders don't resign. If not, these people on their own should have resigned
because they failed.
They failed. Yes. And when this argument was heated up again on social media, we came across a video. We saw a video that Garba Shehu did an interview with Arise TV when he was saying that the president, as far as he's satisfied with the service chiefs, that he can continue with them.
Yes.
He said there is no tenure on the offices of the service chiefs. As long as the president is okay with them, that he has the right to continue with them. But you and I know. You and I know. If you are the president and these are your service chiefs.
Bros, I make we face fact. If me are the president, as a bishop, and these service chiefs be like this, the only reason why I go feel retain that maybe they be my cousin,
nephew,
my family member,
or your nephew.
My nephew. I bet all of us they keep our secrets. Let me say if they come out, go review.
You know, when all these things happens, it shocks us. But before we continue, we just want you to see a brief of that interview that Garba Shehu had with Arise TV.
I'm not aware that the tenure of army chiefs is subject to any law or regulation that is clearly stated. They serve at the pleasure of the president. If the president is satisfied with their performance, he keeps them, and the buck stops on his table. With all due respect to the feelings of fellow Nigerians, the clamor for the sack, is out of place, considering that the president is not subject to the opinion of the opposition political party, which has clamored for this all the time, and other people who think that they have a role in it. It's entirely his own determination. He decides who he keeps as a service chief and for how long. The laws don't prescribe a term limit.
Garba Shehu there, live, saying it publicly on air. Arise News that the president is as far as he's satisfied with the service chiefs, he has rights to keep them till whenever he feels. But the only problem I still also have with them is politicizing this thing. Saying that the government will not succumb to opposition parties call to why are we politicizing it? Must we politicize everything?
Something is not working and you are saying
it's not right.
It's the opposition that is calling for. Everybody now who feels, everybody who has a view is an opposition to the presidency. That's psychophancy. You know?
This is opposition party. It's the only opposition party that is calling for the change of
I wonder.
Well, that is how we understand. That is to the best of his understanding. That's all right, my people. If you have any comments about that issue, just drop it below this video, and then let us have your own comment. If you get anything where about this matter where we not talk about confirmable story, just put them for the comment box under this video. All right, now so we want to enter the second matter today.
Yes, bro, the second matter today. Now matter we be say it dey make me you see if full ground remain. Now the matter of Nigeria police force,
okay,
and the IG wey be say they come set up their lawyers, say make it go court, go stop the judicial panel of inquiry where they go on in each state that are set up by each state government to look into all these police issues wey be say brought about one of the biggest wave of movement wey pass for this country, the EndSARS movement, that now brought about the judicial panel of inquiry set up by state government. IG office and the Nigerian police force come carry the self back, bros. They come go court, go tell judge say may they stop them. e come be like say we stupid bros. Wetin you feel? E come be like say all of us just e be like say e dey be like magic to me.
You know, when Mr. President
Eh,
during that NSAS this thing, when Mr. President gave order,
Yeah.
you know, the order came from Mr. President to set up judicial panel of inquiry, empowering the state governors to do that.
yes.
The IG was in this country then, isn't it?
It was
When President gave that order, IG was in this country.
a day office.
Now, when Mr. President gave that order, because I followed up with that order, to the little knowledge I have in Nigeria Constitution, I discovered that in Nigeria Constitution, the police is a federal entity
Yes, being controlled by the federal government.
being controlled by federal. So if there is any panel,
That should be
a
set up.
judicial panel of inquiry that should be set up in regards of police in this country,
Na so.
it has to be federal. It was according to constitution, it is the sole responsibility of the federal government to set up that judicial panel of inquiry
Down.
constitutionally. And that was why during that period, you see the governor of Rivers State,
Yes.
Oyesan Wike, he came out to say why would they push their responsibility to him. He said the police is not a state police, it's a federal police, and the responsibility of forming a judicial panel of inquiry lies solely on the shoulders of the federal government according to constitution.
I remember say Wike talk at that time.
Now, when government gave them that order,
Yes.
a lot of states, in fact Lagos State was the first to set up, other states began to set up
as well.
judicial panel of inquiry. I laughed. You know why I laughed? Because I just see it again as a way, because you know they've tried to stop the NSAS protest then. They use different tactics. They use different tactics. Different tactics came up that they wanted to use to stop. It didn't work. It didn't work. So they looked at it that, okay, what will that work? Let's give them this idea. Let's set up this. We know that this thing is not valid. Because whatever, according to constitution, whatever these states, for this judicial panel of inquiry that the states are forming, whatever they come out to, is still coming back to federal. So at the end of the day, they will still nullify it that constitutionally they don't have rights to constitute that panel of inquiry.
They mumus.
I think you see the logic now. Bro. So they just use that as a way
to gag us,
to stop the protest at that period. But we have hope.
Okay.
For the police now to go and tell court to issue out a statement or to issue out a judgment ending it, all this and that, he does not hold ground. You know why I say does not hold ground?
Why?
Because there is I was reading the great oracle tweet.
Okay.
Oga Mahmood, you know, he's a human rights lawyer.
Yes.
You understand? He said, aside the main constitution, there is another by constitution in the law that gives the state power to form a constitutional panel of inquiry into whatever federal body, you know, is doing. You understand? So that one is whatever the IG and the police people are doing, they are just wasting their time.
The idea after pressure, bro, say after pressure, you know, say this social media generation, you don't feel dabble them. Everybody just begin the tweet, people begin the, if I see your own tweet, say fly your tweet powerful. Everybody begin the tweet, they talk their own mind. Say he no go work. Now, Nigeria police through IG come out when they say second wave, people call they call second wave, NSAS. Now they quickly cut us say no, IG say no anything. Bro,
say not send them.
You don't send them.
Which lawyer? I want sack the lawyer. No, you know they don't know that.
I like Nigeria.
You know they don't know that this is a different Nigeria, and that is why our politicians are how do I put it now? They are not settled.
Yeah, yes. They fear.
They are not settled as usual.
Yes.
They've discovered that NSAS protest really brought out a lot of understanding about the new Nigeria, or about this present Nigeria.
Yes.
You understand? Now these politicians that are occupying one office or the other, or one federal position or the other, they are not settled in their mind because they know that things have changed.
Things don't change.
You understand me now? So things have changed.
If you know they can go blow for social media.
So that is it. They have to retrace, because if it were to be before, I don't care where nobody care anything they do. People just say, I just want my daily bread. I don't want anything that will hinder me from going to work. I don't want anything that will stop my income. You understand? So people don't look into all these things. Nigerians don't really look into, but now people now have time to look into all these things, and we want to thank our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. We want to thank them, because they are the people that are really pushing these things more for the Nigerian people.
Get them out.
Yes, our brothers and sisters, because anything, and I don't get the liver. The freedom to tweet and to post a lot of things.
Yes.
Because we here, we don't get that freedom. You get wetin I go post now, tomorrow you go see DSS for my mouth.
Oh boy.
Alright, now so we go take drop that matter, IG filing to the court to stop the ongoing judicial power of Ekpa in East States. I don't see it as anything holding ground. Na me Osagiato, that fine proud Benin boy, well of radical talk. Nice to sit down here. So I know the show now still the portmanteau today. And I still get my honorable guest, my honorable friend.
That's so the big fat Yoruba boy, Bamidele Bello is the name. MC
Bomb. That's so. All right, we still want to thank God for our country, Nigeria. It's not all gloomy, like we have been saying all along. I want to use this opportunity to first and foremost congratulate our very own personal person, our own person where they make Nigeria proud in diaspora. One time Minister of Finance for Nigeria, you know, the Forbes just named her as the African of the year 2020. That's Madam Okonjo. No, you know, Ngozi Okonjo.
Our pride.
Iweala, the pride of Africa.
Mama Africa.
The pride of Africa. You all know Ngozi Okonjo Iweala. He's also gone in to be the very first African. The first African since the inception of World Trade Organization. She's gone in to be the first African to be on the #1 person in that organization. So please, let's join hands together to say she become the head of World Trade Organization. You go do us proud for Nigeria, and you go do Africa proud too. Another person where we still want to hail on top the program today now, our very own, my guy. I like this guy so much. His name is Ukwa. You know, Sebastian Ukwa. Sebastian Ukwa is a comedian. He's a filmmaker. He's a screenwriter. He's a video editor. Graphics designer, and all the gbogbo where concern media, you know, film making. You know, Ukwa is very good at them. At a point, he designed one of my posters, one of my shows. You know, Ukwa has just come out with a very new project. You know, he's also a specialist in short films. There was this first short film he did, Rancor. He did one, Rancor, some few years ago. That film was aired in the Dublin Film Festival. You know, that film was aired in Dublin Film Festival that year. So Ukwa has come out with another short film again. It's titled Oxymoron. Oxymoron is about love. It's about love actually. It's screening right now on YouTube. So far so good. We've had a lot of people engaging with that short film on online, especially on YouTube. Just before we not talk too much about the film, we will just take the trailer. Then after the trailer, we'll come back and take Now Only for Naija. That is the trailer, you know, to the new short film that Sebastian Ukwa just released. Is screening on YouTube now. Make sure you get the link below this video. Just tap the link and then you go and see it yourself. If you want to connect with Ukwa on social media, is Ukwa and Sebastian Ukwa at Sebastian Ukwa on, you know, Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook I think it's Ukwa. Sebastian. So just connect with him and relate with that video too. Thank you. Okay, Bob. That's what I want to enter now. Only for Naija. You get the message?
Bros, you hail me. Talk am.
All right, my people. Now only for Naija. Nine insurgents go dey insurgent everywhere, and the military go dey organize spiritual exercise.
Naija. Bros, you finish this military.
That's how we go take one generator out of the show today. Before we go, make we remind you again, say coronavirus still dey everywhere. We thank God say the vaccine don dey come. For now for country where get money to buy. So Nigeria will never know when the thing will enter this country. So make sure say you apply your nose mask well anywhere where you go. They wash your hand with soap and water regularly. Not let your sanitizer far from you. At the normal 2-meter gap where the same way they give ourselves for public, make sure say you dey observe am. And finally, not forget say you be Naija. Anywhere where you go, they rep this country well. Not for them put hand for wetin go spoil this country name. Not do drugs because no get any better thing where they do for body. So that's what we take comot for studio today.
That's so.
Obito.
I will see.
That's so.